So in this video, I will show you how you can get a 0 to 100 product market fit score using the Market Fit Canvas. So the Market Fit Canvas is a framework I've developed over the past years, mentoring over 350 startups. What I saw, and also in my research, is that designing a startup is not so much a challenge of articulating some core building blocks. It's the challenge of articulating those building blocks in cohesion so they form a unified whole. Over the years, I found that these 9 building blocks, the archetype, job to be done, root problem, your competition, and your solution, are key in nailing an understanding, because together they explain why your customer will buy you over competition. I will show this with a quick example. So Bob, the entrepreneur who travels a lot for work, needs to be at the airport at 5 a.m. to catch his flight. However, he lives 25 kilometers away from the airport. Therefore, he could use public transport. However, trains don't start until 5 a.m. and as a result, Bob would miss his flight. Luckily, private taxi companies exist. They pick you up at home and drop you off at the airport at any time of the day. Now, this makes logical sense, but look what happens if I make one weird change. If I say, Bob, the entrepreneur who travels a lot for work, needs to be at the airport at 5 a.m. to catch his flight. However, his car is blue. You immediately feel that doesn't make any sense at all. If I would say he needs to be at the airport at 5 a.m. to catch his flight, however, he skipped breakfast, it also doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes more sense for some weird reason. And the reason is that we have developed an intuition of cohesion, of fit, of how well these sentences go together. Now, the first 3 building blocks together should explain why is your customer on the market in the first place for a solution. Why doesn't he do it himself? And in this case, it's Bob living 25 kilometers away at the airport. If Bob would live in the airport, maybe like the Terminal movie, sure, then he would not be on the market for a solution. And there's always competition. So you should understand what is the dominant competitor here. And in this case, it could be public transport, but that's not a good fit because of the departure time. And we obviously understand why people prefer taxis, but this is harder to construct than you think. I've tested this now with over 200 startups in a variety of workshops and one-on-one, and the core insight stems from my scientific research into how do entrepreneurs design a successful venture. And it's these linkages that actually are the core. I created a tool out of this, and in this canvas, you can, over here, you get a product market fit score. In this case, it's 68, and you get separate loose feedbacks. So it says 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5, and it says what's good about it, but it also says, okay, but this isn't great about it. And if you're a big fan about one of these suggestions, you can just double click and it will update it, and you can then reevaluate and you get a better score, likely. So this is the result if you have entered everything, but let me now run you through it, how you will find it. So you just saw the score bump up to 72. So if we start over, this tool is helping you by the moment you start typing, it suggests, hey, this is the building block to consider. So for example, consequence is the undesired outcome that happens from not addressing the root problem combined with the competitor flaws. And it should always be the negation of the job to be done. And in the case we just had, the job to be done is catching the flight, and the consequence is not catching the flight. Sometimes it's that simple. If you don't have an idea yet, you can just click the random example button and generate something, evaluate to give it a spin, and it will evaluate using top-notch AI, whatever that may mean. Oh, this is not good. 10 out of 100. So there's a whole lot of things that are bad here. So we built a revolutionary AI-powered blockchain-enabled cloud-native SaaS platform. That's just terrible. Also, there's 3 strictness modes, so that cheer me on, and it will just give you a very positive feedback round. Just kill me, that's hilariously bad. And you can decide to make your input anonymous so it doesn't get stored in my database. I might use the input for scientific research, making improvements to the tool, or marketing. And that's up to you. I don't track the content of the anonymous submission. And that's basically it. So it's freely available at marketfitcanvas.lovable.app. The link is here in the Substack as too. Let me know how it works for you.